Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca. Let's talk about makeup. Speaking of makeup, mine is looking a little odd right now. I have nothing on my eyes, and that's because something very special arrived in the mail today. And so I thought I would sit down and do a little get ready with me / first impressions of the Cold Moon palette by Ensley. I am so excited about this palette. I have wanted it since it released last year, and I finally pulled the trigger. Now, I don't think I've ever done any first impressions on my channel before, but I needed to do my makeup so that I could sit down and film my August empties anyway, so I figured this would be fun. Now, this is not a new palette, and for any of you who don't have this palette, I'm sure you've seen plenty of reviews, you've seen plenty of swatches, but I'm going to do some swatches of my own. I will insert a little clip of that. I have not yet filmed that clip or done any swatches, so this is going to be my first impression of this gorgeous palette. We're going to do an eye look and see how it turns out. Okay, I have brought you in a little bit closer. I also have a mirror right down here, so I'm gonna be looking down into that mirror for a good chunk of this video. So I think I'm going to start out with this shade here, Catmint, and if we end up needing to deepen it up a little bit, I will go into Garnet. But for Catmint, I think I'm going to start with my Rephr 15 Max. It's from their Max set, and the Max set is a set of brushes that is, I think, 15% larger than the normal brushes with that number. So this one is just a little bit bigger than the normal number 15. I have already primed my eyes with my Sephora Colorful Shadow and Liner that I'm working on for my 50 Shades of Brown. It's a really decent eye base. I have really enjoyed it. I'm just gonna put this through the crease. Now, I'm actually really interested to see how this works out. This is a very dusty, gray leaning purple toned palette, which is usually right up my alley. But I have noticed something in recent years, and that is in the very depths of summer when I'm at my deepest, a lot of these grayer tones don't look quite as good on me as they do the rest of the year. And I think that's because as my skin tone deepens, it does get a little bit warmer and a little bit more saturated. So those gray tones that I find so flattering on my skin tone the rest of the year aren't quite as flattering as they usually are. So we'll see how this goes. Now, my husband is probably watching this, and he's probably thinking to himself, didn't she say that she was not going to buy that palette? It's true. I did tell him that I was not going to buy this palette, at least for the next couple of months. And it's not that he would have objected. He told me to buy the palette because he is a shameless enabler when it comes to any of my hobbies, and I love him for it. But I had told him that I was going to hold off on this particular purchase for a while, especially because it is an indie brand. This is one of the most expensive palettes that I have ever paid for. However, I have been thinking about it a lot and kind of trying to decide whether I wanted to purchase this palette or whether I wanted to get the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette, which is another one that I have been considering since it was released last year. And I had kind of been going back and forth on that, especially because the What's Up palette is like half the price of the Cold Moon. So I think it was the beginning of this week. I think maybe it was Monday. I was sitting there and I was thinking about it, and I asked myself the question, if both of these palettes went out of stock tomorrow, and I essentially lost my opportunity to purchase either of them, which one would I be the most sad about? And I realized that I would be a little sad about the Dragon Eye palette because it is a beautiful palette and it does really look like something I would very much enjoy. But I would be devastated about losing the chance to buy this Cold Moon palette. And that kind of just made the decision for me. And after coming to that realization of how sad I would be if I lost the opportunity to purchase this palette after wanting it for so long, I actually bought it on the spot. I bought it on the spot. Okay, so that's Catmint through the crease, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and bring some of Garnet, which is this one here, and a little tighter into the crease there and add a little bit more depth. And for that, I'm going to use my, oh my goodness. Flinging my brushes everywhere. Okay, for that I'm going to be using my Rephr 01. I think I've told you guys before what a struggle I had coming around to being willing to purchase these Rephr eye brushes. Part of the reason is because I did feel there was just so many people promoting them online that I felt a little pressured, to be honest. I felt like it was being crammed down my throat, and I don't know, I have a little bit of a contrary personality where I feel like if everybody's telling me to do something or to buy something or to like something or to think something, it makes me want to do the opposite. And I felt that way a little bit with the Rephr brushes. In addition to that, I felt like their initial marketing push was a little tone deaf, where they were these male engineers who were coming into this predominantly female space, and they were going to show us how to do it right. Because the whole premise behind Rephr initially, in the beginning, was that we have too many makeup brushes, and if we could just have a handful of really well engineered makeup brushes that could fulfill a multitude of tasks, that we wouldn't need to have so many. Well, guess who was offering a lot of makeup brushes now? Rephr. And the thing is, I finally broke down and I bought some. I think I started with a little package of 3 of them. They were offering a little kit. It was a face brush, which was fine. I don't really tend to prefer natural hair face brushes, although they are now selling some synthetic ones, which I think was a smart move. But they also had 2 little eye brushes, and I just fell in love. And so the next chance I got, I purchased another little set. And then a couple months ago, I just went whole hog and I got them all. And I don't want to use anything else. I'm not interested in using anything else. Okay, apparently, as I was talking, I picked up my 15 Max again and went into Rephr here. And I'm just using that to blend out the catmint just under the brow bone there. These are beautiful shades. I'm really liking how the mattes are performing. That is just very smooth, very smooth. Now, Garnet didn't give me quite as much depth in the corners as I expected it to. I'm not sure which one is deeper. I think these are the same value. So this is this is Garnet, and then this is Mother's Night, which is right here. I do think those are the same depth. But I'm going to go ahead and take some of that Mother's Night and put it there in the corner. And this is a 01 mini, so this is like the 01, just a little bit smaller. In any case, I'm almost certain that my husband's not going to be at all annoyed with me, despite the fact I told him I wasn't going to buy this palette. A shameless enabler, that man. It's one of the reasons we get along so well, probably. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Given the fact that I'm the one that has purchased most of his gaming gear, obviously it goes both ways. All right. I feel like that gray is just taken over a little bit. And I'm not sure that's exactly what I wanted. I do feel like, okay, so I got depth out of that. That gray from the Mother's Night, I do feel like that kind of took over everything. So I'm gonna go back in with my 01 and Garnet, and I'm gonna just resaturate that corner a little bit. I think it would be so easy for anybody who's not me to make a really soft, pretty look out of this, but man, I go max. I was actually talking to, let's see, who was it? I remember actually discussing this with someone once about how you put a new palette through its paces. And I guess everybody does it differently. It never occurred to me, but I like to go full. I want to see how dramatic it can go, how deep it can go, how metallic and foiled it can go. I want to see the top speed of the palette. Whereas the person I was talking to said that she prefers to just take the palette just for a gentle, just a really chill drive, you know, just take it out for a little cruise, you know, to kind of see what its mid-level performance is. And I thought that was interesting. So which one are you when you're trying out a new palette? Do you try something really soft and simple, or do you try to get as much kapow out of it as possible? I'm so curious. It never occurred to me that of course we're all going to be different about how we approach our makeup, but that was an interesting conversation. All right, I am happy with that. I already have concealer on. So far, no fallout pretty much at all from any of the mattes, so that is nice. I think I'm going to be just a little bit extra, and I'm going to go in for another matte shade. Normally, this is pretty much where I would call it with mattes. I usually don't need a zillion of them. I'm just going to use my 01 Mini on my color switch, and I'm just going to go grab some of this Winter Rose, which I think is the warmest matte shade in this palette. And I'm just going to do a little halo around the outside of these colors. That is pretty. I kind of feel like it brought the shape of my socket down a little further than is flattering on my eye. I do have a little bit of a downturned eye anyway. So I'm going to go back in with Garnet on my 01 Mini, and I'm going to add a little bit more to that corner there. I feel like that lifts the corner of my eye just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to take a clean 14 Max, that's this one right here, and I'm just going to go over that edge. Okay, that pretty much covered up most of the Winter Rose that I used. I do think Winter Rose would add something to this look, just a little bit of warmth there around the edge, but I think in order to make it work and keep the shape the way I want the shape to be, I would have needed to start with it earlier. I may experiment with that a little bit next time. But this is just a clean brush, and I'm just using it to soften the edges. I do feel like I'm experiencing a tiny bit of patchiness here up on the brow bone, but I don't feel like that was occurring until after I had like stacked my third shade up there. So we can probably chalk that up to user error, let's be honest. Also, sometimes I have found, occasionally, if I'm not paying close enough attention, I won't bring my primer all the way up to my eyebrow. And I found that when I do that, with some eyeshadow formulas, the matte can end up getting a little bit patchy there, where the skin with primer stops and the skin without primer begins. Okay, that's good enough for now. Let's try a shimmer. Now, honestly, I'm not sure. Snow Fairies. And then Kion. Ooh, that's the one. Yep, that is the one. I'm going to use my little 02 Mini. I'm wondering if this is something I should be using a glitter glue with. I guess we'll find out. If you can hear that, that's my son is up from his nap and he knows I'm in here. He can hear my voice, so he's trying to get in the door. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, did you see that? That is so pretty. I don't even have words. I'm just going to put over the center of the lid, and then we're going to pick another one for the inside corner. I've seen some reviews of this, and I've watched people put these on camera, and the camera does not do it justice. It looks like I am putting some molten metal, not of this world. It is so reflective. Oh my gosh, that is delightful. That is delightful. Okay, inside corner. I think I'm going to take some of the Saturnalia. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. If you know the way to pronounce it, please inform me. Same brush. I'm just going to wipe it off real quick and pick up some of Saturnalia. Now, this is not my first experience with indie brand multichromes. I have a little bit of experience through Odin's Eye Jewels and Gems palette, but I've never seen anything like this before. This is a new experience for me. I have said in the past that I don't love multichromes simply because I like to know what the color is going to look like when I put it on my eye. And the nature of multichromes is that obviously they change depending on the direction of the light, the quality of the light. But to be perfectly honest, these are so pretty, I can't bring myself to care. I'm gonna bring that down into the inner corner. And then I'm actually gonna take a little tiny bit of that Wolf Moon. If I can get it on the brush. I am noticing that these are a little harder to pick up on the brush. They're very chunky, very creamy. I do have, okay, that's a little bit of Wolf Moon there. Okay, tiny bit of fallout right there, but a lot less than I expected with this palette, to be honest. I actually have a brush. It's not actually a brush, it's more of a tool. That actually worked quite well though. I have a little tool, it's like a brush, but it has a silicone tipped, like if you've ever purchased the Laneige lip sleeping mask, that little tiny silicone spatula that comes with it, it's basically like that, but it has the long handle of a brush. And I have noticed that with certain formulas that are very, very chunky and creamy like this, where it's hard to get them up onto a brush, something like that can really, really be useful. Okay, that is, wow. Okay, I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of Garnet. Or do I want Catmint? Yeah, I'm gonna go in with a little more Catmint. I'm gonna use my 01 Mini, use a little bit of Catmint just to blend this into the corner. And then I'm taking the 01, which is the one that had Garnet, the deeper color there in the corner. And I'm gonna use that to blend those two together. Oh my goodness, that is so pretty. Okay, for the lower lash line, I'm gonna use my 13 Mini. So this is the 13 Mini. This is the 14 Mini, which is a little dirty right now. I like both of these for the lower lash line. This one, because it has slightly longer bristles, can kind of diffuse that line a little bit more. I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but we're just playing here. So I'm gonna take some of Winter Solstice, and I'm gonna go in with that first. There's a lot of green showing up in those multichromes. I want to see if I can reflect a little bit of that. Okay, I know that looks crazy. Just have faith, okay? If it looks too crazy, we can always go over it. And if it's a disaster, I can always wash it off and start over. It is just makeup. I think I'm gonna go back into Mother's Night here with this 13 Mini. Which is the one that gave me a little bit more gray on the outside corner than I really was looking for. But I think it'll be perfect down here. It's really hard to do the lower lash line when your mirror is lower. And I have clean number 16. Number 16 is not the ideal brush for this, but it's the only one that I have that's clean right now. I'm just gonna blend that edge. All right, I'm happy with that. I don't actually usually highlight my brow bone, I've got to be honest. It's just not something I usually think to do or feel like is necessary for my particular eye shape. But I mean, we have it here. We're playing, we might as well. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of this one. This is, oh, I don't know how to say that. I have no idea how to say that. I'll have to look it up later. See how ignorant I am. I'm just gonna put that right here. I definitely prefer a matte highlight. When I do wear a highlight under the brow bone, I do prefer it to be matte. Do I like that? I don't know. Knock it back just a little bit. All right. All right, I'm gonna call it there. I'm gonna stop tinkering. You know what? I am gonna go back into garnet. I'm gonna get a little bit more garnet and put that under the lash line. There's a lot of green in this palette, more than there appears to be, I think, at first. And I love that. I love the juxtaposition of purple and green. I think it's really, really, I think it can be, depending on the tones, obviously, can be a really, really interesting color combination. All right, I'm going to go put on some liner. I'm gonna put on some lashes and I will be right back. Oh my gosh. So I've been trying to film this outro for like 15 minutes, but my 5-year-old and my 2-year-old are out in the living room having so much fun and screaming the whole time. So if you can hear them, I apologize, but they live here. They're not angry. No one is dying. They're just having a good time. Anyway, this is the final look. I went ahead and put on some liner. I put on some lashes. I put on some of this. This is the Dan Visit Cool Pink blush that I just rolled into my Throwback 30. I am so into this. My feelings about the Cold Moon palette, is it everything I hoped that it would be? To be honest, yes. Yes, it is. It is everything I hoped for and maybe a little bit more. Now, I've watched a lot of reviews on this palette. I've watched people swatch it. I've watched people put it on my eyes, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. But what I didn't realize watching those videos is that what you're seeing on camera, the reflectivity and just the gorgeous sparkle of these shimmers, is about 1/10 of what you see in real life. In real life, it is just, I don't know. I don't even have words. I don't even have words for how gorgeous this is. I just can't get over it. I really did enjoy the performance of the mattes as well. I really, really love a really good matte, and these are beautiful. They blend so nicely. I think the color choices that were made for this palette were really interesting and fun. As far as how I think it looks on my summer skin tone, I still think it looks great. I think it looks fabulous. I think I may enjoy this even more in the wintertime when I'm a little bit more fair and a little bit more of that gray and green in my skin tone kind of comes out. I think that that's going to be very complimentary as well. But I have no complaints about how it's wearing on me at the moment. One of the critiques that I heard about this palette was how difficult it is to apply the shimmers because it is that very, very creamy, chunky texture. I actually did not experience a ton of fallout. There was a little bit. I experienced a little bit of fallout. You can see there's a little glitter right here. But not nearly as much as I expected given the flaky, chunky nature of these shadows. Now, I didn't apply any of these with my finger. I didn't find that was necessary. I do think you might get even a more foiled effect by using it with your fingers, but that's definitely not something you have to do in order to get impact out of these shadows. Now, I did want to show you this. I went and found this. This is the Morphe, let's see, M760 brush. It's just this little silicone tipped paddle. I do have some shadows in my collection that I do feel like they do have that very creamy, almost gel-like chunky shimmer texture where it is difficult to pick them up on a brush in a way that I don't feel any of these shimmers were difficult for me in the Cold Moon palette. But if you do have some shadows that are like that frustrate you because they're hard to pick up on a brush and you don't want to use your fingers, then look into getting something like this. You could pick one of these up, or there are various other skincare products that will come with little silicone spatulas like this that can actually really make it a lot easier to get those creamier gel-like chunky shimmers onto your eye. Again, as far as the Cold Moon shimmers, I didn't have any trouble at all picking those up on a brush. They were gorgeous and foiled straight from the bristle to the eyelid. It was just, the whole thing is beautiful. I am gonna have to experiment a little bit with this palette and see if I can get just a softer, less kapow look out of it, because even though I am absolutely one of those people that doesn't really shy too much away from wearing glitter to the supermarket, this is a lot. I mean, it is a lot. Not just the shimmer, not just the light reflectiveness of these shadows, but like the multi-chrome nature of them. It's just, even for someone like me who enjoys drama, this is a lot. Now, it's not too much. It's not too much, but this is like date night makeup. It's not something I'm going to be wearing to take my kids to the park, for instance, or to the library in the middle of the day. However, If this is park makeup for you, no judgment whatsoever. I am fully supportive of you wearing as much glitter and as much drama as you want to at any time of the day. I do feel like I want to experiment with this palette a little bit more for myself, just to see what its range is like on the more everyday side of things, because obviously with these multi-chromes, it can really, really pull out the drama. I wish you guys could see what I'm seeing in the mirror instead of what you're seeing in the camera, because those are two different things. What I'm seeing in the camera is beautiful, but it just can't even hold a candle to what I'm seeing in the mirror. It's absolutely so gorgeous. I'm beyond impressed, and I'm just so happy that I finally broke down and picked this one up. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this palette, I can tell. So that is it. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.